Hello! I'm filming this on the same day that I filmed my Harry Potter Lockhart's Office mock video, and as I mentioned in that, I've just gone and had my second COVID jab, so I've been feeling a bit rubbish over the past day or so. So I thought I'd go out and grab myself a treat, so I went and got this, which is the Star Wars 75302 Imperial Shuttle. Now I got this from Smith's Toys, which I'm currently in the car park of, and I picked it up on sale for just over £45, down from the £70 at full retail price, which I think is a much better deal overall. So I'm going to get home, I'm going to build this over the evening, and I will let you know my thoughts. And here's the final set. Didn't take me very long to build, did most of it last night and then finished it off this morning. Let's take a look at the minifigures first. We only get 3 minifigures in this set, which is a bit of a shame considering the suggested retail price. It's not so bad for the price that I paid for it. I would have expected maybe one more minifigure, perhaps a stormtrooper or just something generic. It doesn't have to be anything special, but 3 feels a little bit cheap, even though if you build it according to the instructions, that's the correct number of figures that actually fit inside the shuttle. I'm definitely going to be doing some modifications to increase that. The figures we do get are nice though. On the left we have Luke Skywalker in his Return of the Jedi outfit. You can see it's got nice detailing and printing across the front there. I think this is pretty similar, or possibly even the same, to the one that came in the more recent Death Star Final Duel set. I'll just remove his handcuffs, which you do get 2 pairs of in the set. Trickier to remove when he's sitting on the stand there. There we go, you can get a better look at his torso. He of course comes with 1 flesh-coloured hand and 1 black hand for his robotic hand, and then his green lightsaber, which yes is green, unlike the blue on some of the early leaked artwork. Obviously this set has been out for a while now, so that's not a revelation. Comes with some decent back printing as well. Obviously it's all printed on black, so some of the details are harder to see than others. Comes with a fairly generic Luke double-sided head, which I'll show you the other one of in a minute. And then on the right we have a minifigure who is labelled on the box as an Imperial officer, but I believe this is incorrect. I think he's actually a shuttle pilot. Definitely that uniform is not correct for an officer, although I suppose he could double up as the 2. If they were going to include a 4th or even a 5th minifigure in this set, I would have wanted an actual Imperial officer, so you can play out that scene where Luke actually hands himself over and the officer gives Darth Vader his lightsaber. But nonetheless, this is what we get. Nice printing overall, again on black with some decent highlights. Comes with a blaster pistol and a single-sided face with a microphone. And I do like those hats that they give these Star Wars minifigures, the Imperial minifigures, this time in black. Doesn't come with an alternate face, but Luke does have one. And there it is, a little bit more of a stern expression, I suppose. You can just about see the little chin print underneath the hairpiece when it's on him. Okay, moving on to the 3rd figure in this set, which is, of course, Darth Vader. Now, this is a nice looking minifigure. It's not very different from the more recent ones that they've produced, with obviously the 2nd variant of the helmet, where he seems to be looking slightly upwards, but it is separatable. Comes with nice printing across the front, including some printing details for his legs, but unfortunately no prints for the arms, which is a shame because they have that minifigure now, and they could easily have included it, but they chose not to, presumably to keep that exclusive to the few sets that it appears in. Comes with his red lightsaber, which looks nice. It does have some printing on the back of his torso as well, but unfortunately he comes with one of the, what I think is the older style cape, which is more crinkly, so it's harder to see behind. It's very simple printing anyway. It needn't have bothered, but I suppose it means the torso is more reusable if you want to use it for mocks. Just pop the top of his helmet off. So there, he comes with a standard Darth Vader facial print, which is just one expression and some more prints around the back. It does look really good, and I think white is the appropriate colour, especially for Return of the Jedi. What I will do is just compare him to the other Darth Vader I have, which is the one that's been sitting in my Emperor's Arrival mock for a while now. I believe this is actually one that came in a Rebels set. I think it was in Darth Vader's TIE Fighter versus the A-Wing, which it's not quite the name of the set, but you know the one I mean. And I have that TIE Fighter, bought it separately, and he comes with this set of prints. I think the facial expression is identical. Yeah, exactly the same. So the only differences are the prints for the robes are a little bit different. It's hard to say which one I like better, to be honest. I might swap the legs around actually and have those legs with that torso. And the other advantage is he comes with one of these soft capes, which is much easier to flip up, and again has simple printing on the back. So yeah, just to clarify, this one comes in the set, this one does not. Now it's time to take a look at the build of the set. Overall, I think this is a really nice depiction of a Lambda class shuttle. It's not perhaps the best that LEGO has come out with. I did previously have set 75094, the Imperial Shuttle Tidarium, which came out in 2015. That was a very good set. It was slightly bigger, had a higher part count and a higher price, although surprisingly not that much higher, although if you want to buy it now on the aftermarket, it is going to be a little bit more expensive. Some of the same design philosophy has been used in here. So, for instance, the main wing or sail, which I'm not going to be able to keep in camera because it's so large, has these Technic reinforcements running up through it, which keep it nice and strong. Although, saying that, bringing this upstairs after building it, I did manage to drop it. What I found is that if you're gripping it by the top wing, which you can, don't grip it by this very top large slope piece, because that is actually not attached with any Technic at all. There's no way you could attach it. So just make sure you're either grabbing it from the back here or from anywhere lower down. Then it is very secure. It's got everything that a Lambda shuttle really should have. It's got the two wings that can fold all the way down. I'm going to have to try and find a way to show you that from more of a distance, but I'll do that in a moment. But bringing it up to here, you do see where a couple of the problems are. Now, I'm by no means the first person to point this out, but the shuttle does have a rather large, I've seen people refer to it as a chin, so underneath the main cockpit. This should not be there. It should stop about there. That would be kind of acceptable, and in fact that's what the Shuttle Tidarium really had. It's all part of the structure. It's actually I think there's 16 long Technic bricks that run underneath, and they stick out and unfortunately mean that the underneath is very chunky. It's a little bit cheeky of LEGO as well, because if you look at it like this, it really doesn't look too bad, or even from the front things don't look as chunky, and of course that's where they've photographed it from in most places. It's honestly not that bad, especially if you're displaying it against a dark background, but again, I'm definitely going to be doing some modifications in order to get rid of that. I'll just go handheld for a second so you can see what the shuttle looks like with its wings lowered. Just built up a very precarious stand for it to sit on, so it looks really good. It's the correct shape. You've got the three wings in the sort of equally divided, it's not really a triangle, but yeah, you know, the kind of Y shape. It looks good. The wings are probably shorter than they should be for the body size, but I think that's excusable given the scaling overall. Coming in a bit closer, we can see the cockpit here. It uses a trans black 1x6x5 panel piece for the main windscreen. It's a little bit large. It could probably do with the white coming up a little bit higher here. Again, Shuttle Tidarium used an actual windscreen piece, which was only 3 bricks tall rather than 5. Some of this is actually covered up by this plate on the top just here, which goes some way to making it look better. But again, I might swap that out. But that's what comes in the set. The nose is actually done fairly well. There are ways to get a better shape. It's actually slightly curved on the real ship, but using standard Lego pieces in a way that's buildable by most people, it's probably the best way you're going to be able to do it without going to the full Ultimate Collector Series version. The way you access the cockpit is very simple. You just push down on the nose and the whole thing tilts forward. It actually perfectly touches the ground if you push it forward, so it's got a sort of another leg to stand on. And inside there is space, unfortunately, for just one person. So obviously we get the Imperial officer, or TIE pilot, shuttle pilot, as he should be known. Got to lean him back ever so slightly, close that, sits in there nicely. So he does look good once he's in, but he does look a little bit lonely. There are plenty of mods out there, people who've managed to fit 2 minifigures or even more in the cockpit there, and I'm definitely going to be doing that as well. But anyway, so that's not the only interior space that we get, which is good. The other interior space we get is actually the most accessible it's really been on any of these shuttles since the very first one, and that is because unlike the Tidarium, where the two sides swung out like that, we can actually open the entire top by pushing on this, and the thing just lifts back nice and simply. And inside we can get a look at what is, to be honest, a very sparse interior. It's just got a few panel pieces. You're really supposed to be able to sit a minifigure there and sit a minifigure there, and that is it. which is really bizarre because there is space for more. And again, modifications are necessary. I bought this set knowing that there were a few quote-unquote problems with it, which I wanted to try and tackle and find solutions for. So I will have a mods video, and I will link it in the corner and in the description. Until that's out, I would definitely advise going and looking at TommyCBricks version of that, where he did a good bunch of mods. But you can also just search on YouTube and on Google, loads of people have done it. But anyway, that's the interior you get. There's no storage crates or anything that you can remove. This looks like it ought to be one, but it isn't. The mechanism's clever though, the mechanism for actually keeping it closed. If I just tilt up a little bit, you can see just here we've got one of these rubberized parts, and if I push down on this, you can see it stretches ever so slightly, but then obviously it'll go back to being like that, and then that hooks underneath there and keeps it nice and sturdy. There's a tiny wiggle, but you know, it's not going anywhere unless you've made a fatal flaw in your building techniques. The outside looks really good. Slight flaws are these big gaps where these click hinges are for the wings, but you know, there are different ways you can do it. You can use the similar sort of leg joint pieces that are used on the AT-ATs, and I think that's what the Shuttle Tidarium used. But you know, this is one way of doing it, and it's probably the most simple way of doing it and uses the fewest pieces, so I guess I can excuse it. This construction on the side is a different way. It's nice. It uses these curved half-cylinder pieces as well as some curved bricks and tiles and all sorts of things there. Then we bring it around to the back, and I think the back actually looks really good. Just straighten those guns up. You can see you've got the trans light blue tiles for the engine exhaust at the back. This whole construction at the back is maybe a little flimsy. In fact, when I dropped it, this whole bit all came off. It really is fixed on in a slightly bizarre way in that it's fixed on here and here, but not in the middle. Don't quite know why they decided to do that, but it's secure enough if you don't drop it. One thing about the back, though, is that there's this bit just here. Now, I can't work out why it's there. That's another reason for taking this off. I can't work out what this is for. The one thing it does seem to do is it's a stopper for the sail. You can see it just stops it there, but I don't really get why that's necessary, because you know, you put this on and this would stop it, or maybe it's to stop this from getting knocked off, but it just seems a little bizarre. Maybe that is the only reason. It doesn't take up too much space, but it does look a little bit out of place, especially as it's not white around the back there. The wings on either side are fairly thin, but they are of the kind of appropriate length in comparison to the main sail, and they just use a handful of pieces each. They actually come out of one bag to build both wings. They're the last things you do, and they're just attached with Technic pins. Let's see if I can actually remove one of these now to show you what I mean. There we go. Finally managed to remove a wing. It took me long enough. So yeah, you can see that it's just those two Technic connections there. Go into those Technic holes, the wing goes on there. One final thing to point out is the landing gear, or lack thereof. Shuttle Tidarium, again, had a nice set of landing gear that folded out. It was still a little bit unstable in that it could tip forwards and backwards, but this one goes with static gear, so you've got these two on the bottom here, and then this one single one in the middle at the front there. And, you know, it does stand up on them, it's fine. There's no way you'd get any sort of ramp underneath it or anything like that, but that's nearly always the case. The trouble is, though, you can just kind of tip it forward. So, looks like it's crashed. Yeah, I think they could have just gone, seeing as it's fairly inaccurate anyway, they could have just gone with two of these, one here and one here possibly, and maybe that's what I'll do if I don't go for something a little bit more extreme. Oh yeah, one other play feature that I hadn't pointed out before is there are a couple of stud shooters here, one on this side, one on this side. No spring-loaded missile shooters, which is a little odd for a ship this size, but hey, something there, and I will be removing those, which isn't a real surprise. Lastly, you do get a brick separator, because, you know, those are super rare and I don't have enough of them already. And you also get all these trans bright green studs, which are for the stud shooters, so they should be there, and then all the rest of these are spare parts. So there's a, you know, normal selection spare lightsaber hilt. You do get a spare of the lower part of Darth Vader's helmet, which is good because I can see that going missing. Overall, you know, a standard selection for a set this size. So that was set 75302 Imperial Shuttle. Overall, I think it's pretty decent. Like I said, I bought it knowing that there were a few things that I would want to fix about it, so I'm looking at it as a kind of project, and I only really bought it because it was reduced in price by £25 down to 45. I think 45 is probably too cheap to be the standard retail price here in the UK. Maybe 50 for the number of pieces and minifigures that you get, although it's always a little bit arbitrary. I think, yeah, don't buy this at £70. $70, yes, I think that's the US price for it, and I think it may be the same in euros, but £70 is ridiculous. So pick this up if you want an Imperial Shuttle, pick it up on sale if you want one at a decent price, and yeah, it's a fun little build and great to add to the collection. I'm going to do a mod video, as I've said for the umpteenth time in this video as well. I might also do a bit where I put this with my Emperor's Arrival mock, because obviously he arrives by shuttle, so it'd be nice to have that in the background. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, then please leave a like down below, comment, and I will try my best to get back to you. And if you want to see more videos like this, and also my mock reviews, then please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, have a good one. Bye.